So welcome to page number 101. We're going to continue with our practicing of writing and naming chemical formulas. And in this case, we're going to be using our polyatomic ions. So make sure that we are going to make sure to use our reference table E. And I'm just going to go over to our reference tables really quick. And let's go to table E. I think I'm going to have to rotate. Yes, I will have to rotate. Hold on. Couple rotates. Sorry, don't mean to make you dizzy. All right, so here we have table E. And remember, when we're using our polyatomic ions, that we're always going to make sure that the name always stays the same. And we're going to make sure that we're going to need to use the charges. And then we're going to want to make sure that we put the polyatomic ions in parentheses. And then your subscript will go on the, whatever the subscript number will go on the outside of the parentheses. All right, so let's go back to our page number 101. And we are going to start doing some naming of these compounds. All right, so our first one is, remember, the metal or the first element always keeps its name. So I'm going to go make sure I'm also going to use table S if I don't know the name that goes with a symbol. So Na is sodium. And now I need PO4. So I have more than two elements, so that means I always have to use table E. So I'm going to find PO4, and that's right here. And I'm going to copy down exactly what it says. It says phosphate, so that's what I'm going to copy down. So that is phosphate. So our next one, I'm going to name the first element hydrogen. And now I'm going to find CO3 on table E. I'm going to find CO3, it's right here, and that's carbonate. So I'm going to copy that down exactly, carbonate. Right, the first element gets to keep its name, again, Na, sodium. And now I'm going to find this OH, right, because I have more than two elements, so I'm going to definitely need to use table E. Whenever you have three or more elements, you need to use table E. So I'm going to scan until I find the OH. There's the OH, and then I name that hydroxide. So this is sodium hydroxide. So now the first element keeps its name. So then that is K. So that is potassium. Remember, you're going to use table S if you don't know what the symbol that matches the name. So now I need to find MnO4. So then I'm going to go over here. I'm going to find my MnO4, scan it, scan it, scan it until you find MnO4. And there it is. And that is permanganate. So I'm going to copy that down exactly, permanganate. So now here I have potassium. And I'm going to find Cn on reference table E. And so here's the Cn. And so that is cyanide. So that's potassium cyanide. So now the first element keeps its name, calcium. And now I'm going to go to table E. I'm going to find the OH, and that is hydroxide. Okay, super simple. All right, so now let's work on going to our formulas. Oops, too fast. Very sensitive mouse today. So now we're going to go and we're going to do a couple of examples where we take our formula and we're going to take our name and we're going to convert that out into our formula. So then again, first thing I need to do is I need to get the symbols. The second thing I need to do is I need to grab the charges. And then my third thing is my crisscross applesauce. And that's going to balance out our charge so we get a correct balanced sum of the oxidation states is equal to 0 chemical formula. So first step, symbols. So calcium is Ca. So this does not end in an ide. This ends in something other than ide. So that means I need to go to find it on table E. So I'm going to find the word carbonate on table E. So where is carbonate? Carbonate, I need just carbonate. Where are you, carbonate? I should know where it is because I use this table all the time, but I want you to look. There we go. Here's our word carbonate. So now I'm going to copy this, the CO3 with that -2 charge. So that is our CO3. Okay, so then now our charges, that was -2 from table E, and the calcium is a +2, and I got that from the periodic table, right? So our charges come from the periodic table or table E. So Ca and CO3. And since this is a +2 and a -2, I don't need to do a crisscross because it's already, the sum of the oxidation numbers is already 0. So now magnesium is an element from table S, the symbol's Mg. This is phosphate, careful, not phosphide. Phosphide would be the element phosphorus. So now I need to go to table E, and I'm going to find phosphate, and I already know what it is. So I'm just going to save us some time. And it has a -3. Magnesium on the periodic table is a +2. So I'm going to write down my symbols with their charges. Magnesium is a +2. And my phosphate, and I'm going to put that in parentheses, is a -3. So then when I do my crisscross, right, I made sure that I have the parentheses around my polyatomic because it functions as a unit. And I need to put the subscript on the outside of the parentheses. So I'm going to take the 2 from the magnesium, I'm going to put that on the opposite side. This is what's crisscross. And I'm going to take the 3 from the phosphate, and I'm going to put that over there. And then I'll just rewrite that formula to make it look pretty. Magnesium, 3 of those, and my phosphates in parentheses, 2 of those. So now here I have the sodium, which is a +1. And I have thiosulfate, which I need to go and I need to find on table E, which is the SCN. And this is a -1, and that's from table E, right? So then let's go back just so I can show you. Here's my SCN thiocyanate, which is a -1. I want to just, I want to make sure that I erase this for later, otherwise it saves and it'll permanently be marked up and it's not as useful later. Okay, so now back over here to our drawings. So sodium is Na, and then SCN. So I don't need to put it in parentheses because it's a +1 and a -1, and the oxidation states are equal, so then I don't need to have it in parentheses. If you put parentheses like this, it's fine. You don't have to worry about it. So now my symbol for potassium is K, and now dichromate, going back to my reference tables, dichromate is here. Careful, this is dichromate. I want the dichromate and not the chromate. So I'm going to copy down the symbols and the charges. I have Cr2O7. The whole thing is a -2 charge. So I have a Cr2O7, and this whole thing is a -2 charge. And from the periodic table, potassium is a +1. So when I do my crisscross, I need 1 of the dichromates, and I need to bring a 2 for the potassiums. So it's going to be K2 and then Cr2O7. And then you can also write it without the parentheses. You can only write it without the parentheses if there's only 1 of the polyatomic. If you have more than 1 polyatomic, you absolutely have to use parentheses. So thank you. I think that was really quick, and keep practice. And the best way to get better is to keep practicing, right? So try these all over again, write them on a separate sheet of paper, make sure you can still do them over and over again.